I want to talk today about Samadhi. Samadhi. And many of you have been coming to Throstle for many years longer than I have. My first visit to Throstle was in 2002. It was a busy retreat. A number of us were sharing cupboards in the ceremony hall. Mattresses were laid out on every available space. There were two men on the retreat who had come on the recommendation of their martial arts teacher to learn about meditation. At the end of the retreat, these two men were kind enough to offer two of us a lift to Newcastle. They were going in that direction and they were happy to give us a lift to catch our train. On the way to Newcastle, I asked one of them, "Do you think you will be coming back to Throstle?" He said, "No, I can't stand doing nout. I can't stand doing nout." I was a bit surprised by what he said. But his reply stayed with me. What is it that we are doing in Zazen? It can seem like nothing at all. It can seem like absolutely nothing. In one sense, it is exactly that. But in another sense, it is absolutely not doing nothing. In the opening paragraph of Bendawa, Dogen writes, "All Buddha Tathagatas who individually transmit inconceivable Dharma, actualizing unsurpassable complete enlightenment, have a wondrous art, supreme and unconditioned. Receptive Samadhi is its mark. Only Buddhas transmit it to Buddhas without veering off. Sitting upright, practicing Zen, is the authentic gate to free yourself in the unconfined realm of this Samadhi." I'll read that again. All Buddha Tathagatas who individually transmit inconceivable Dharma, actualizing unsurpassable complete enlightenment, have a wondrous art, supreme and unconditioned. Receptive Samadhi is its mark. Only Buddhas transmit it to Buddhas without veering off. Sitting upright, practicing Zen, is the authentic gate to free yourself in the unconfined realm of this Samadhi. Receptive Samadhi is its mark. What is this Samadhi? Is it a doing? Is it just being? It can sometimes be easier to talk about what it isn't than what it is. We're not trying to solve a problem. We're not trying to fix anything. It's not easy to pin these things down, to describe them. There are different translations. Receptive is one translation. Receptive Samadhi. What is there to receive? What is there to be open to? The bowl that we eat from is the begging bowl, into which alms are offered. The begging bowl is the mind of meditation. We don't grasp at what is dropped into the bowl. We don't cling to it. Nothing that drops into the bowl should be inedible, but some of it might require a little more chewing. You might need to chop it up into manageable chunks. In Zazen, we are open. We are open to what drops in. In this natural, balanced state, we are receptive. Reverend Hugh once gave a talk in which he mentioned what he saw when walking around the grounds at Throstle. He saw there were sycamore sprouts, sprouts of trees, pushing up through the earth, opening up to receive light. Sitting upright, practicing Zen, opening up to receive. The translation from Bendawa, the opening paragraph of Bendawa, was from the Tanahashi translation. Some of you might be familiar with it. There are several translations of Bendawa. This one is Nishijima and Cross. In their translation, we find the Japanese characters and their meanings. They give explanations of a number of different ways in which Dogen expressed the meaning of samadhi. In Japanese, the word for samadhi is zammai. So the most excellent mirror samadhi is Hokkyo zammai. The type of samadhi that Dogen is referring to in Bendawa is called Jijuyo zammai. Nishijima and Cross define, or they translate this kind of samadhi as the samadhi of receiving and using the self. It has been translated as self-fulfilling samadhi. It is the natural balanced state where we see the self, where the self arises. This translation here is from Waddell and Abe. They translate Jijuyo Samadhi in a different way. They say the Samadhi in which an awakened one receives and employs the joy of awakening in himself. the samadhi in which an awakened one receives and employs the joy of awakening in himself. Nishijima and Cross add that Jijuyo Zanmai suggests the state of natural balance which we experience when making effort without an intentional aim. This is very important. The state of natural balance which we experience when making effort without an intentional aim. In the same way that in Zazen we don't engage in deliberate thought, in Samadhi, in this practice, we don't have a goal or an aim that we are seeking to achieve. No knowledge, no attainment, as it says in the scripture of great wisdom. It is simply the lawful gateway to carefree peace, as it says in Rules for Meditation. Sitting upright, practicing Zen, is the authentic gate to free yourself in the unconfined realm of this samadhi. So, doing nought, doing nothing, this is the main entrance. It's the way in to this practice. It is the foundation, the starting point, and the bedrock of Zen training. When Dogen returned from China, Bendawa was one of the first works that Dogen put together as teaching. He didn't include it in the Shobogenzo. In his version, it doesn't appear. It was added much later. But it was clearly intended for the widest possible audience. Lay people, monastics, everybody. The point he's making is very, very clear. The practice of Zazen is the front gate to the Buddha Dharma. Bendawa means on the endeavor of the way, or negotiating the way, pursuing the truth. Nishijima and Cross point out that there are other explanations of samadhi that Dogen uses in Shobogenzo. There is Ka-in Zammai, which is the samadhi that is like the ocean. And there is Zanmai or Zanmai, which is the king of samadhis that contains all other samadhis. So how do we know what we are doing? Are we opening up like sycamore sprouts? Or are we elements of form coming together like the ocean? Or are we in a supreme balanced state? Dogen goes on to say that it is only by sitting that we know what sitting is. It is an unconfined realm, not limited or restricted by definitions. But it is only by entering this unconfined realm that we can negotiate the way, that we can pursue the truth. I'll read you the second paragraph Although this inconceivable Dharma is abundant in each person, it is not actualized without practice, and it is not experienced without realization. When you release it, it fills your hand. How could it be limited by one or many? When you speak it, it fills your mouth. It is not bounded by length or width. I'll read that again. Although this inconceivable Dharma is abundant in each person, it is not actualized without practice, and it is not experienced without realization. When you release it, it fills your hand. How could it be limited by one or many? When you speak it, it fills your mouth. It is not bounded by length or width. Nishijima and Cross express it in another way. Their translation reads, "This Dharma is abundantly present in each human being. But if we do not practice it, it does not manifest itself. And if we do not experience it, it cannot be realized. When we let go, it has already filled the hands. How could it be defined as one or many? When we speak it, it fills the mouth. It has no restriction in any direction. Inconceivable, unsurpassable, complete enlightenment." Why does Dogen describe practice in this way? Many have questioned why the practice of Zazen is important. Many see it as not the most important thing. Well, he says it is. It is the front gate. It's the very place of doing this work. This is the goalless effort. When we let go, it has already filled the hands. When we speak it, it fills the mouth. It is the very practice, the very act of not grasping and not rejecting, not clinging and not discriminating. Here we are, sitting upright, open and receptive. What is dropping into this begging bowl?